Hi guys, this is The Ordinary Man, Step by Step, episode 15, I think it is. So, I suppose what I just want to start off with is just to touch on, I suppose, something positive. I just wanted to say thank you very much for all the positive feedback that I got from the last episode. Special thanks to Carol Tallon, who wrote a lovely piece on LinkedIn about the podcast, and she really got and articulated well what I'm trying to do with this. I suppose trying to break down barriers and bring a bit of truth and honesty to the whole process. In previous episodes, I've touched on my frustrations around the startup community and startup environment here in Ireland. With people not necessarily speaking their truth, and that is something that I do, and I think it's the only way that you're going to be successful in the long run. So Carol wrote a lovely piece just on LinkedIn and shared with all her contacts, and I've got some lovely feedback off the back of that. So that's greatly appreciated, and I guess that's exactly what I want from this. I want people to be able to see the home truths and what it's really like to try and get a business from an idea in your brain to something that's actually a business that's up and running and financially successful. So that's the dream, obviously. So just wanted to start on that. Just for anybody else who hasn't listened into this, really what I'm doing with the podcast is just documenting my process, documenting the process. Sorry, as I touched on there, basically from taking an idea that I had and sort of translating that into a successful business. So we're very much at the start of that, dare I say, journey. I hate that word. So really, this isn't about me giving wisdom or advice or anything like that. It's literally just me documenting to you guys, to anybody that's listening, of the process that I'm going through. It might not necessarily be the right process. I might not necessarily be doing certain things the way I should be, but that's the way I'm doing them. So I think this really intrigues me, this, and hopefully we can look back on this in a year or two and see the progress that's been made. So that's generally what we're doing with the podcast. So anyway, moving on to what have we been up to. So I suppose from Saturday was spent mostly again on the priming grant application. So basically what this is a grant basically that the local enterprise office may provide to you to basically help at the early stage of your business. So really we've I suppose submitted that a while back now, so we had to fill in more documentation around the application, and again it's all to do, I suppose, with the business plan. We had to complete, and just other supported documentation like CVs of the team, what we're going to be using the money for, etc. So really we'll be using that hopefully to just provide wages to our team, and after meeting with the business advisor, they think that will actually look well on the application because it is generating jobs. So that was spent all day Saturday on that. I spent so much time on it because I suppose, as I've said before, I haven't spent an awful lot of time on a business plan. A business plan to me is somewhat of a waste of time. I made that mistake at the very start, where I spent the guts of 2 to 3 months refining and I suppose creating this beautiful business plan document, that literally went out the window as soon as we went to the market and tested our initial model, which was buying and selling properties online. So I haven't spent too much time on that. I really focus on two things, which is the business model canvas and the value proposition canvas. Them two are two documents that I just couldn't live without, and they're so powerful and so useful. I don't find the business plan useful in in too many ways. I suppose it is useful to look at where you're actually going long term, and it's useful if you're going for investment and things like that. And obviously, because we're going for a grant, we obviously needed to submit it, but it's not something that I spend an awful lot of time actually looking at. So the reason why I took so much time over the weekend was because I had to refine a lot of it based on where we are now with the progress that we've made. So that was pretty much Saturday. Then Sunday went down to see the folks. So I had somewhat of a day off on Sunday. Went down to see the family for Father's Day. Then really yesterday and today again, it's been pretty good days. A lot of good feedback on different things. One of the things that so late last week, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the last podcast, but we were unsuccessful in our attempt at getting a client on board. This was a huge client, one of the biggest on the planet there would have been. But one of the things that let us down is obviously we're providing a product, an application that their employees can use to secure rental accommodation in what is a challenging market here in Dublin. However, one of the things that this client also wanted was sort of the traditional with regards to relocation services. So this is where they bring in employees from different areas around the world into the Dublin market. They also wanted to be able to provide these employees with help reviewing tenancy agreements before they sign anything, and also with help going to viewings, things like that. That's stuff that we do not provide. To be brutally honest, the whole thing about bringing employees to viewings to me is a joke. Like, everybody's got Google Maps on their phone. They're techies at the end of the day. They're going to be able to find their way to the accommodation. But anyway, the other, I suppose, part of that, which is more of an interest to me, is the whole tenancy agreement side of things. So, luckily, we were actually contacted by consultant services company last week, who I met then on Friday, which I think I included in the podcast. What they do is they want to partner with us to basically provide a service to our clients around the idea of reviewing any tenancy agreements that their employees are going to get into with in a certain property. Also, if any disputes appear throughout the tenancy agreement, they'll offer independent services to facilitate that between the property agencies and the landlord and the tenant. As well as other things, as well as online seminars of things that they should be looking out for before signing tenancy agreements, and really, I suppose from that education piece as well, they want to provide them sort of services. So that is really of interest to me. They've sent over a proposal for us to actually have a read over. So I'm going to hopefully get to that. So we probably will do a bit of business together, so that would be great. Because what it means is we can offer that as a service under the property Basecamp umbrella, but we will literally be outsourcing that to our partner, and it means that we can continue to remain focused on the actual product, which is our core business, which is the application itself, and providing value within the application. Who knows, in the future we may look at incorporating the likes of the seminars and the communication between that consultancy services company within the app via chat or via internal comms or something like that. So that was really good. Made good progress there. So again, just been trying to connect with I suppose my connections on LinkedIn, and not just connect by connecting with them, but actually engaging in conversation with them. One thing that was really of interest to me was, and again, it's a bit of a light bulb moment, where people don't like getting sold to. They don't. They can smell if you're trying to sell them something straight away, and it's something that I was doing at the start, was basically just in a clever-ish sort of way, is trying to have a strategy to actually get these guys to bite and get the attention on our product. What I've found is very quickly that doesn't necessarily work. I suppose we have done well in getting into the room with a small number of clients, but really, so what I really did was, I suppose, did the opposite of that. Any basically posts or articles that I'd read to do with connections that I have on LinkedIn, I would simply engage with them, speak to them about their views, and not ask them for anything. Not ask them for a meeting. Not ask them for would they like to use our service. Nothing. Just give your point of view, and and think about what you're doing. Not just saying something for the sake of saying it. If you're actually engaged and interested in the topic that they're speaking of, that'll actually shine through. So it was very interesting. I read an article about a lady from a prospective client. Read the article, gave my opinion via private message, and that was it. I just left it at that. She came back to me straight away and asked would I like to meet for a coffee. So I guess that's very interesting to me, and that's the whole thing about looking long term and not trying to get a sale straight away. I guess I'm concerned about that because I have property agencies basically waiting for us to deliver on what we said we would deliver on, which was multiple clients within the technology industry. But again, I'm just going to have to articulate to them patience. The patience is needed from them. They don't necessarily need to do anything at the minute because our team are doing the advertising for them, so it shouldn't be any issues. But it's just I suppose I need to take that long term approach of engaging with my key stakeholders. And something I put up on Instagram yesterday was the Sales Navigator tool within LinkedIn, where you can track your leads, what they're called, or people of interest, which I like to say, and accounts, which are the companies that they work for. So you can see all the updates that these guys are making and that their companies are making. So it may bring around a topic that you can then go and speak to and engage with them about. So a lot of yesterday was spent doing that as well. Then last night, then I eventually got the application for the grant sent off. So that was great to get that done. That was dragging on a little bit. This morning, then I was in with the Dublin Chamber for a meeting at 7:30 this morning. It was a conference to talk about the transport and infrastructure of 2050. Very, very interesting. One of the talkers was from Trinity College, who are doing some work around innovation of mobility as a service within urban areas. That's all to do with the likes of autonomous cars, which is very, very interesting. And it really, I suppose, got me thinking about, again, that sort of software as a service within real estate and that end-to-end product and what that might be into the future. So that's really something that I'm going to be thinking about to see if we can incorporate that with what we're doing. Then today there was awful Wi-Fi issues around South Dublin, so we've been in and out of Wi-Fi, moving from place to place to try and get Wi-Fi. Just trying to focus on getting engagement from our target audience. So that's really it. I've got a meeting now with property agency at 4:30. Just have a chat about our new model that I want to roll out, which I'll speak about a little bit more on the next podcast. And that's really it. So again, thanks very much for your time, guys. Thanks for listening. If you do have any comments or feedback or anything, please feel free to get in touch, and I would be so grateful if you guys could share and like and do all them sort of things on social media with this podcast. It would be great. And that's it. You can keep up to date with my day-to-day on Instagram, The Ordinary Man, and TommyC15 on Twitter. So thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.